Master this, and you will never be bothered by anyone again. Ever had your entire day torpedoed by just one sarcastic text? It starts small. Your phone buzzes, you glance down, and there it is, 10 words typed with just enough sharpness to slice straight through your mood. You stare at it, reread it, wonder what they meant, add a little sarcasm of your own in your head, and before you know it, the whole day is hijacked. But here's the truth: you weren't ambushed by the text itself. You were ambushed because your brain's security guard, your inner gatekeeper, just stepped aside and waved the intruder in. Most people think emotional freedom comes from having tougher skin, from never letting anything sting. Some hope it comes from softer people, from surrounding themselves only with those who never push their buttons. But the Stoics, and modern psychology too, would disagree. Real freedom doesn't come from tougher people. It doesn't come from avoiding friction. It comes from tighter gates. From boundaries so firm, from an inner fortress so strong that no careless word or sideways glance can march in and sit on your throne. And that's what we're diving into today: the art of guarding the gates. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly how to spot the split-second gap between an insult and your reaction. You'll know how to shut the gate before negativity storms your mind. And you'll see how ancient wisdom, combined with modern practice, can make you practically unbotherable. So, let's step inside the fortress. Picture this: you're in the slowest checkout line on earth. The person in front of you pulls out a jar of coins. Pennies clink onto the counter one by one. The cashier counts them with the speed of a snail, while the clock on the wall seems to mock you. You feel the lava rising in your chest. Now, pause. When exactly did this person make you angry? Was it the coins, the cashier, the delay itself? Or was it the moment your mind whispered, "He's stealing my time"? That instant, the gap between what actually happened and the story you told yourself about it, that's the birthplace of frustration. Not the pennies, not the weight, but your interpretation. The Stoics called this moment the most important territory of your life, because if you can see the gap, you can close the gate. You can stop the invasion before it storms the throne room of your peace. This video is about training that skill, because once you master it, you'll discover something powerful. Nobody, no line, no text, no tone of voice can hijack your inner calm without your permission. And the day you stop handing out that permission slip is the day you stop being bothered by anyone ever again. The myth we swallowed. We've all swallowed a lie since childhood. Other people are the reason I'm upset. Think about it. Your coworker sighs loudly in a meeting. Instantly, you feel annoyed. Your partner forgets to text back. Suddenly, you're spiraling into anger or insecurity. A stranger cuts you off in traffic. Within seconds, your blood pressure spikes. And every time, the story in your head goes, "They made me feel this way." But here's the plot twist: the Stoics would laugh at that excuse, because the truth is, nobody can make you feel anything without your consent. You're the one who keeps handing them the remote control to your emotions. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, lived under constant fire. He dealt with plagues that wiped out millions, betrayal from senators, invasions on the empire's borders. Yet, in his journal, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If that wisdom worked for an emperor dodging literal arrows, it can definitely help you survive Karen from HR, the rude barista at Starbucks, or your cousin's passive-aggressive Facebook posts. The myth says, "They're the problem." The reality is, my judgment is the problem. The moment you accept this truth is the moment you stop being a victim of every mood, every tone, every action around you. You reclaim the remote. You stop outsourcing your peace. And that's the first brick in your emotional fortress. The single principle. If there's one Stoic principle that flips the whole game, it's this: the dichotomy of control. Epictetus broke it down 2,000 years ago. Up to you, your judgments, your intentions, your choices, your values. Not up to you, traffic, the weather, the economy, other people's behavior, group chat drama, your boss's mood swings. Mix those two up, and misery is guaranteed. You end up shouting at the sky, trying to bend the universe into your shape. It's like trying to out-yell the rain. Loud, emotional, pointless. But when you separate the two, everything shifts. Suddenly, instead of pouring your energy into things you can't steer, you invest it into the only thing you truly command: yourself. Think about it. You can't control if the meeting runs late, but you can control whether you stew in anger or use the time to breathe. You can't control if your friend ghosts you, but you can control whether you spin a rejection story or simply note, "They're busy." You can't control if someone flips you off in traffic, but you can control whether you escalate the war or just turn up the radio and keep driving. Here's the beauty. Once you accept this principle, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to win. You stop burning fuel on things outside your hands, and that fuel flows into building patience, clarity, and resilience inside your fortress. So here's the daily reminder. If it's mine, I'll steer it. If it's not, I'll release it. And trust me, the day you start living that way is the day 80% of your stress evaporates overnight. The four-step fortress. The Stoics believed your mind is like a fortress: strong walls, guarded gates, a throne room inside where your peace sits. Most people, they leave the gates wide open. Any rude comment, any side-eye, any passive-aggressive email just marches in, grabs the throne, and takes over the whole kingdom. Not anymore. Today we're building your fortress brick by brick. 4 steps, simple, repeatable, unshakable. Practice them long enough, and suddenly other people's storms can't touch your sky. Step 1. The pause. The first gate is silence. 1 conscious inhale, 1 slow exhale. That pause is the gate slamming shut before the intruder barges in. Think about the last time you snapped. The words flew out before you even realized it, and once they left your mouth, you couldn't pull them back. That's what happens when your gate is unguarded. Neuroscience explains this. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that reacts with anger and fear, fires instantly. But your prefrontal cortex, the part that makes wise, rational decisions, needs 2 seconds to catch up. The pause gives your brain those 2 seconds. So, the next time a text stings, or someone cuts you off, or your coworker sighs just loud enough for you to hear, don't answer, don't react. Inhale, exhale, gate closed. Step 2. The interrogation. Now, the invader is at the gate. Before you let it inside, ask 2 questions. 1. Is this mine to steer? 2. Is this a fact, or just a story I told myself? Coworker doesn't say, "Hi, fact, your story. They hate me." Partner doesn't text back, "Fact, your story. They don't care about me anymore." See the difference? The facts are neutral. The story is the poison. And if the answer to the first question is no, this isn't yours to steer, then drop it. Why waste your energy trying to control the uncontrollable? Step 3. The reframe. This is where you change the lens. Same event, new meaning. Old frame. They ghosted me. I must not be enough. New frame. Their silence tells me about their bandwidth, not my worth. Old frame. Traffic is ruining my day. New frame. Traffic is training my patience. Free practice I didn't ask for but probably need. Reframing doesn't change the event. It changes the impact. It shifts your chemistry, your story, your peace. Step 4. The response. Now and only now do you act. With the gate secure, you choose your move. Silence. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. Kindness. Answer in a way that reflects your values, not their chaos. Firm clarity. Speak the truth calmly, without rage, without apology. Notice what's missing: shouting, sarcasm, rage texting at midnight. Those aren't responses, those are invasions from within your own walls. The fortress teaches you this: whatever you choose, choose it on purpose. You are no longer a puppet yanked around by someone else's string. You're the one holding the remote. Daily rituals that seal the walls. A fortress isn't built once and forgotten. Its walls need upkeep, its gates need rehearsals. Without rituals, the walls crack and the intruders slip back in. That's why the Stoics trained daily. And that's why you need rituals that strengthen your defenses every single day. Here are 3 you can start tomorrow. Morning rehearsal. Before Marcus Aurelius went out to face the Senate, the armies, and the chaos of Rome, he reminded himself, "Today I will meet meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, and surly people." Why? Because forewarning is forearming. So here's your practice. Start your day with a mental movie trailer. Picture the annoyances waiting for you: traffic, long lines, sarcastic emails, that one coworker who loves drama. Then tell yourself, these aren't punishments, they're practice. When the irritations show up, you'll nod and think, "Ah, here it is, just as rehearsed." And suddenly, instead of ambush, you feel prepared. The trigger journal. Carry a small notebook. Call it "Peace I Gave Away." Every time you lose your cool, jot it down. What happened? What story did I spin? What was the payoff? Here's the magic. After a week, patterns appear. You'll realize traffic doesn't ruin your Tuesday. It ruins it because you were already dreading therapy at 4 p.m. Or that coworker's sigh didn't bother you until after 3 cups of coffee and no breakfast. The journal reveals triggers aren't random, they're patterned. Once you see the pattern, you can break it. Gratitude. Reset. At night, before bed, list 3 moments you kept the keys. 3 times you didn't hand control of your mood to someone else. Maybe you stayed calm in line. Maybe you let the rude text sit without replying. Maybe you breathed through the honking horn instead of blasting back. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, loves this practice. Every time you highlight a success, you deepen the groove that says, "I am capable of holding my peace." Over time, this becomes your default setting. These rituals may look small, but they're the daily maintenance that keeps your fortress unshakable. Miss them, and the walls weaken. Practice them, and your emotional gates grow stronger with every sunrise. The compassion twist. Here's something most people never expect. One of the strongest walls in your fortress is compassion. At first, that sounds counterintuitive. Wait, if I'm compassionate toward rude people, won't they just keep walking all over me? Not at all. Because compassion isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about refusing to let their storm move into your living room rent-free. Think about it. Rude people aren't really reporting on you. They're broadcasting the weather inside their own soul. Someone who feels whole doesn't throw emotional shrapnel at strangers. A secure, grounded person doesn't need to belittle, mock, or cut others down. Their behavior is less about you and more like a weather report. Cloudy, stormy, maybe even a hurricane inside. When you meet their storm with rage, you let their forecast dictate your climate. But when you meet it with compassion, you acknowledge, that's their weather, not mine. Compassion doesn't mean you agree. It doesn't mean you allow abuse. It simply means you recognize pain when you see it, and you decline the invitation to absorb it. Marcus Aurelius modeled this. He wrote in his journal, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil." Notice he didn't say to fight them. He said to expect them, understand them, and refuse to be dragged into their storm. The compassion twist is this: you can acknowledge their brokenness without making it your burden. You can stand tall inside your fortress, calm and unshaken, while their storm passes outside the walls. And, ironically, the calmer and more compassionate you remain, the less power they actually have. Case study. Let's take this out of theory and put it into the real world. Picture yourself driving home after a long day. Music on, coffee in the cup holder, finally a moment to breathe. And then it happens. Someone cuts you off so close you can see the dust on their bumper. Old script, this jerk disrespected me. Time for battle. Your chest tightens, adrenaline surges, and you slam the horn. Before you know it, you're tailgating, shouting inside your car, proving to a stranger you'll never meet again that you won't be messed with. Now let's run the fortress model. First, the pause. You feel the flare in your chest. Instead of reacting, you take one deep inhale, one slow exhale. Gate closed. Second, the interrogation. You ask, is this mine to steer? No, you don't control their driving. Is this a fact or a story? Fact, they cut me off. Story, they disrespected me on purpose. That story is optional. Third, the reframe. New lens. This car just showed me how much adrenaline is in my system. That's information, not an insult. Or, maybe they're rushing to an emergency. Either way, it's not about me. Finally, the response. You choose clarity over chaos. You ease back, create space, let them speed off. Safety, not ego, is now driving your car. Here's what happens. Within 60 seconds, the storm passes, your body calms, your day stays intact. And the best part? You kept the keys to your peace. 9 times out of 10, this is the outcome. And the 10th time, you still win, because even if you change lanes for safety, it's you, not your rage, making the call. That's the fortress in action. Same trigger, 2 possible days. One ends in chaos, the other ends in calm. Which one do you want to live? When the fortress feels under siege. Even with the strongest fortress, there will be days when the battering rams come hard. The email you didn't expect, the phone call that shakes you, the look on someone's face that cuts deeper than words. In those moments, it feels like your walls are crumbling and the invaders are already inside. That's why you need an emergency protocol. Something fast, something simple, something you can deploy anytime the siege begins. Physiology. Hack. Stand up. Roll your shoulders back. Take one slow breath in, and make your exhale twice as long as your inhale. This instantly signals your nervous system, I'm safe. Your body calms first, your mind follows. Mantra reset. Whisper to yourself, I am the sky, not the storm. The clouds may be dark and violent, but the sky behind them is untouched, vast and steady. That sky is you. Zoom out lens. Ask, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, it only deserves 5 minutes of your energy. Why give a temporary storm permanent residency in your heart? Here's the truth. Even the best-trained Stoics had moments where emotion surged. The difference is, they didn't confuse the surge for the truth. They saw it as a visitor, not a ruler. So, when your fortress feels under siege, deploy the protocol. Breathe, reset, zoom out. You'll find the walls are stronger than you thought, and most invaders are weaker than they seem. The social mirage. Here's a fear most people carry but rarely say out loud. If I stay calm, Won't I look weak? Won't people think they can walk all over me? That's the social mirage. The illusion that calm equals cowardice. But the truth? Calm is charisma with a quiet heartbeat. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, mentors, or even friends who make you feel safe in their presence. Were they the ones screaming at every inconvenience? Or were they the ones who stayed steady when everyone else lost their head? Calm doesn't read as weakness. It reads as power under control. It's the difference between a candle in the wind and a lighthouse on the shore. One flickers, the other guides. People sense it. Even if they don't know philosophy, even if they've never heard of Epictetus, they feel the fortress. They see the invisible boundary that says, "You can't pull me into your storm." And, ironically, they respect it more than if you shouted them down. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." You don't match their chaos, you embody calm, and calm is unforgettable. So the next time your fear whispers, "They'll think I'm weak if I don't react," remember, restraint isn't weakness. Restraint is mastery. It's proof you're not a puppet dancing to someone else's strings. And the longer you practice it, the more people will notice not your silence, but your strength. If any of this is resonating with you, if you've already felt that spark of relief, imagining yourself calmer, stronger, unshakable, don't let it stop here. Hit subscribe right now and ring the bell, because every week I drop micro lessons like this, bite-sized Stoic tools, science-backed strategies, and real-world examples that save you hours of second-hand stress. And here's the thing, subscribing doesn't just help the channel, it builds the community. A tribe of people training together to guard their peace, to sharpen their fortress, to stop outsourcing their moods to the world around them. So pause for 2 seconds, tap subscribe, tap the bell. That way, the next time life throws you an emotional curveball, you'll already have a weapon in hand. All right, back to the fortress. Answering the "but it's hard" crowd. Let's be real, this isn't easy. If you've been reacting on autopilot for years, maybe decades, retraining your mind feels like trying to reroute a river. And the most common pushback I hear is, "But it's hard." Yes, it is. For about 6 weeks. Neuroscience even has a name for what happens when you start breaking old habits, the extinction burst. It's when your old wiring throws a tantrum before it dies out. Think of it like a toddler in the cereal aisle. When you stop giving it sugar, it screams louder at first. But if you stay consistent, eventually, the tantrum burns out. Your brain does the same thing. When you stop feeding it outrage, when you start pausing instead of snapping, it panics. Wait, where's my usual hit of adrenaline? So it pushes harder, tempting you to go back to old patterns. That's the moment most people quit. They mistake the extinction burst for failure, when in reality, it's proof the rewiring is working. So expect it, label it, ride it out like you ride out a sneeze intense for a moment, gone in seconds. And here's the payoff, a mind that no longer needs a vacation from itself. Imagine that. No more exhausting inner battles, no more replays at 2 a.m., no more constant what-ifs, just a steady, calmer you, someone who can face noise without absorbing it, storms without becoming them. Is it hard? At first. Is it worth it? Every single time. The Micro-Victory Challenge. Here's the secret to building an unshakable fortress. You don't do it in one grand leap. You do it through micro-victories, small wins, stacked day after day, until calm becomes your default. So here's your challenge. Pick one trigger that keeps showing up. Don't pick them all. Don't try to fix your whole life overnight. Just choose one. Maybe it's the family group chat that derails your focus. Maybe it's that coworker who always interrupts. Maybe it's traffic, slow Wi-Fi, or a partner's messy habits, whatever it is, commit to practicing the 4-step fortress on just that one trigger for 7 days straight. Day 1, you might only manage a single breath before the frustration takes over. That's fine, it's still progress. Day 3, maybe you catch yourself mid-story and reframe it. Day 7, you stretch the gap wide enough to pause, interrogate, reframe, and respond with clarity instead of chaos. Here's the key. Don't measure perfection. Measure the gap between trigger and reaction. Every second you widen that gap is a victory, because the gap is freedom. Write it down, track it, celebrate it. These micro-victories teach your brain a new story. I am not controlled by this trigger anymore. And once you master one, pick another. Slowly, one by one, the intruders lose their entry points, until the day comes when nothing, not texts, not traffic, not tone of voice, can breach your gates without your permission. That's how fortresses are built, not overnight, but brick by brick, win by win. Conclusion. Master this, and you'll never be bothered again. Not because the world stops throwing arrows, but because you stopped handing out the keys to your peace. Here's the truth. Life isn't going to get softer. People will still cut you off in traffic. Your phone will still buzz with texts that could ruin your day if you let them. The rain will still fall. The meetings will still drag. The cashier will still count coins too slowly. The chaos isn't leaving, but you don't have to let it inside. The fortress isn't built once. It's reinforced every time you refuse to outsource your mood. Every pause you take, every story you rewrite, every trigger you turn into training. Brick by brick, wall by wall, your fortress grows stronger until calm becomes your default setting. Remember the formula: 1 breath, 2 questions, a new story, an intentional response. That's it. Repeat it enough times and soon you'll carry a silence so steady that nothing can move it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just a line from an old book. That's your blueprint. So start now. Don't wait until the next crisis. Practice on the checkout line. Practice on the traffic jam. Practice when someone forgets your name. Every moment of irritation is just another weight room rep for your soul. And when the world looks at you calm in chaos, steady in storms, unmoved by pettiness, they'll sense something unshakable. They may not call it Stoicism, they may not name it philosophy, but they'll feel the fortress, that calmer, quieter version of you. It's been waiting inside the walls the entire time,